and Kurian.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second workshop on ICCB program review. This is the second workshop, the repeat workshop. So we are just repeating what we said, what we presented at the first workshop. We have a tight schedule for this workshop, just 1 hour. We are going to cover a lot. So I'm going to directly going into the agenda part of it. I'm going to basically spend next 2 minutes explaining what this program review really is, the importance of it, just briefly mention why we are doing it. And then Amin is going to talk about the schedule, ICCB schedule a little bit. And then Marylou is going to take over and cover most of it, going over the templates in detail, and of course, most importantly, replying to your questions. So all throughout this discussions, presentations, just if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask that at that time. So we would be happy to answer any questions you have. So, Marylou, do you want to share the presentation?
Sorry. Oh, oh, I was already on page 3.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought,
I covered first two.
yes,
So,
sorry. I thought I had one. I thought that's when I said that.
okay.
Okay. Um,
Okay, I think while she's setting it up, I can just give you an idea of what is this ICCB program review. ICCB program review is actually a, there it is. It is a, it, it is something mandated by Illinois law. So what is called the Illinois Public Community College Act. So according to this law, all instructional programs at all community colleges have to be reviewed once every 5 years. So that's the technical definition of or the requirement of these reviews. But I would say that whenever we have this discussion with ICCB about this program review, they basically say one thing: this is not for ICCB, or this is not for as a government check box, just to check out something. But this is actually for us, giving us very important data for our planning and decision making. So when we talk about planning related to the program. So for example, what's going to happen to this program after 5 years? Let's say in the next 5 years, what kind of resources we need? So those kinds of decision making. Say for example, an academic program, uh, do we need more faculty? What are the resources we need to run this program? What are the things we may have to improve? So all that planning and decision making. And in some cases, do we really want to continue this program given the enrollment and the future outlook of this program? So all those can be planned and decided based on the data generated by this review. So it is so important. And also it's a reflection on the last 5 years. So the ICCB reviews done every 5 years. So we are basically looking back 5 years and then planning for the future. Now, so the ultimate goal is to have programs at our college which are relevant to our district, and also they are cost effective and also quality programs. So making sure they're quality programs. So that's the ultimate goal of these program reviews, generating data for that. So with that, let me go into the schedule for this year. We have several months to complete this, but a lot of that would be spent in actually formatting and making finalizing the report, because at the end of the reporting period we are going to end up with a very huge report, because we are covering a lot of programs in different areas. So it's going to be a huge report. So we need a lot of time to really finalize the report, and then it has to go through the executive team and finally the president before we can send it out to ICCB. So as you can see on the screen, by April 30th, we want to get the first reports back from each area. Then we will, research and institutional effectiveness will be reviewing that report. And then if there are any other questions or any changes, then we'll be discussing that with individual areas. And then the first draft would be sent to the executive teams, that is VPs and president, on July 16th. Then they need at least a month to review that, given the size of the report. Then by the end of August, we should be ready with the report to submit on September 1st. That's the plan for this year. So with that, I will hand it over to Amin. I think I didn't do one thing. I didn't introduce myself. So I thought we all know each other, but I just want to formally introduce myself. My name is Kurian, Tharakunnel, Executive Director, Research and Institutional Effectiveness. And with me here, Marylou Murphy. Dr. Murphy is a Senior Research Associate in the Research and Institutional Effectiveness Department. And then Amin Yazdani, who is a Senior Data Analytics Specialist in our department. Amin.
Thank you, Kurian. Hello, everyone, again. Okay, as Kurian mentioned regarding ICCB program review purposes and based on timeline of submitting Triton's report, we need to review in 4 major instructional program areas. First is Career and Technical Education, CTE program, that these reviews should employ the minimum standards of need, cost, and quality to totally assess each program. The second area is academic disciplines, that these reviews should focus on the quality of individual courses and clusters of courses, as well as how successful the discipline area is in achieving its goals. The third area is cross-disciplinary instruction. In this area, these reviews should focus on the quality of offering and how successful the cross-disciplinary area is as a whole in achieving its goals. The last one, the fourth area, is student and academic support services, that in this area, Triton will review all of the students and academic support services. Also, Triton should evaluate the quality and cost effectiveness of all the students and academic support services. So for all 4 areas, all areas I mentioned, including all programs within each area, are to be reviewed on a 5-year cycle, which is now from 2017 to 2021. So as I mentioned, ICCB has developed separate template to use in each of these areas I said. So, okay, as you see in this table, in this chart, in FY 2021, we are going to review below programs under each areas. Under area academic disciplines, as you see, we are going to review social and behavior sciences. Under student and academic support services, we are going to review 3 programs, business services, sport or athletics, and student activities. Under cross-disciplinary instruction, we are going to review vocational skills. And the last one, at the CTE area, lots of programs are going to review based on the zip code that you are seeing in this slide, only two programs. And the rest of the list will be shared with you. I think, Marylou, if I'm wrong, you correct me, in 2 pages. So we will share with you, I think it's 9 programs, right? Thank you.
Thank you, Amin. And so I'm going to just kind of talk through the ICCB program review process. And I like to start it with, the thought process behind this. So, why do we do this and what is the outcome? So basically, we're going to take the previous report, which is typically 5 years ago, and we're going to look at what did we say we were going to do 5 years ago. And then we're going to come into the template and we're going to work through the template by really looking at the last 5 years by answering the questions and answering the question, what did we do? And that's going to lead you in each little section area to a summary question that's really saying, what are we going to do in the next 5 years? So this is a continual cycle every 5 years of reviewing the program and making sure that, yes, it does have the quality that we want to continue within Triton. So when we're looking at these templates, we want to respond to these questions in good language. So we want to be concise. We don't want to just take data and copy it in. We want to use your words. Within each of the templates, in some of the templates, I have added bracketed hints that should help you in answering that question. Not in every question, but if I have put these brackets in there, again, they're hints, and then be sure to remove these bracketed comments. Per ICCB, they do not expect any blank responses, so all questions must be answered. And very few of the questions should have a not applicable. Some will, but overall, they really are looking for a well-written statement regarding that question. So as Amin pointed out, we have several different templates. I'm going to talk about the CTE template. I'm going to talk about the academic discipline. So I do want to ask Tuan, are you going to be working with Kevin or Derek on any of these areas for this review?
I'm not sure yet. I wasn't told which
Okay.
I might be working with yet.
Okay, and so academic discipline this year is for the social and behavioral sciences. I do know the math area is, as we saw back here, was really covered in 2018. So it's great to have you here because these come back around. And so, you would basically be more covered in the academic discipline area. And then Tim, I know we would be covering, I do have a student and academic support area template that I will be showing. The two biggest templates are the CTE and the academic discipline. So we don't have anybody here, I don't think, has anybody added in that really will be covering the CTE. So I'm not going to step through that. Tuan, I will for you, I will step through in a short way the academic discipline. So when I send these, Kurian sends these documents out, they're included with several supporting documents. So the supporting documents that we see here are coded in green. And so the academic discipline would use the prior review, they will use cost data, they'll use enrollment data, and disaggregate data. So I want to point out the structure of these templates. So you'll see regarding the area that I'm talking about within the template, we will use different documents. So the basic structure of the template will first cover the prior review. You're going to come in and kind of talk about your current program situation, be it academic discipline for the courses or in the student academic area for, you know, what program you may be covering, in this case dual credit this year. And then you kind of have a preview section, and then you get into the review analysis, which does cover the 3 indicators. So there will be questions in the section about need, there will be questions in the section about cost effectiveness, and then there will be questions in the largest section, which is indicator 3, which is talking about the quality of the program. And again, we will go through this, but within each area, they all end with a reflection question. And this is stepping you towards the final review summary. And so it says, what did this area tell you about your program? And then in the case of academic discipline, since that's really covering courses, there's a section of data that will be looking at enrollment data and completion data, and then we will have given you disaggregate data. And then there's the summary section that will talk about, you know, this is where you will say, what am I going to do? You know, after this review, what have I decided will be my action plans? So I'm going to go just quickly to one of. So this is the
Marylou,
yes,
I believe
yes.
Tuan has a question, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Tuan.
Tuan?
Yeah, I just had a quick question. I mean, because I remember doing it, but I just want to make sure for the course, when we go into the academic discipline, do we have to list all the courses, correct? And answer for all the objectives for it.
That is correct. And so actually, oh, I'm sorry. So I had forgotten economics is here also. I don't get to see any of that. I'm just looking at the presentation and talking to myself. And so, yes, so I'm actually pulling up the economics academic discipline for this year. And so you'll see, yes, Twan, I will get to that.
Okay, thank you.
So again, here's the front of the starting of this template, and this is the review summary. So this is the area that really says, what are the program objectives? How have these objectives been achieved? How does this discipline contribute to other fields? So in this case, we'd be talking about economics. And then we have the final review that was sent from, in this case, 2016. That's the last time economics was reviewed. And so you should go back to that review at this point, and that's where you're going to read what they had done for the last 5 years, and then what their action plan was for the next 5 years, which would be this review period. So you want to describe the quality improvements or modifications made since the last review. And then we go into each of the different indicator areas. And again, I'm sorry, I just want to step back. So this is one of these bracketed comments that I said will be throughout the reviews. And so you'll see, oops, does that mean there's a question if I hear a ding ding in my ear?
Yes. Yes, I have a question. Where can I retrieve this 2016 past program review for economics?
Okay, actually, it should have been sent out with the economic template, but if you did not get it, I'm more than happy to send it to you.
Yes, please. Yeah, I'm looking at the email. I don't think I have that past report.
Okay. I'm writing this down. Hang on. Okay, I will get that out to you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And so then we have the three sections, the indicator need, and you'll see in this case there's really three questions, and then the fourth question is what courses see the largest need? So this is kind of, again, the summary question of this section. And then we have our cost effectiveness. Now the cost effectiveness is going to be looking at, that cost data was also sent out. If you didn't get it, then I'm glad to send that out again. So that's looking at the discipline. So in this case, it will say, you know, the economics course discipline. And I actually have that just to show you. This is what the cost report looks like. And so we can go to economics. And so basically with the cost, it's going to ask you for information. Basically what we do is we have this adjusted RCF, relative cost factor. And this is the value that we want to look at. We want to be able to look at this value in relations to the institution. And I'm not sure I have the institution in this document. No. So already in the template, I have placed the institution information. So the FY20 institutional RCF was positive 83.47. So basically we want the RCF to be positive, and we want, even better yet, economics is greater than the institutional average. So that is a good sign. But you'll see here that in this question, again, bracketed answers, and then fill in the blank. So in this case, the economics department cost was how much for revenue. So you would go to your revenue cost. I might have changed pages. So here's your revenue of $407,000. So you would put this in here, fill in the blank. The department costs were $407,000 with revenue of, oops, well, you got to read it right. Revenue of and institutional effectiveness of. So here's your revenue cost, here's your institutional effect cost. So you're just really taking it out of here and putting it into that. And then it's going to ask for the adjusted RCF, the adjusted costs were, and then the cost. So the adjusted cost, and there's a bit of a definition. So in this case, what you're seeing is some of the questions are the same for all programs. This is also in the CTE template. And so when we've filled in some of these with not bracketed questions, then it's going to just be institutional answers. So you can fill that out. Okay, and then if we come down, then the next section is this quality section. So again, quality section is the largest, 11, but it's even larger in the CTE. Again, you're going to just see some reflections here. What assessment does the discipline use to measure full-time and adjunct faculty performance? So here we've added comments that says at the institutional level, this is what we're tracking. And yet at the discipline level, again, there's a bracketed comment here. So you would fill in what is at the discipline level. What professional development is offered. So also there is a discipline training offered, bracketed comment, and then the institutional level that we have. So again, as we come through, this is the overall economics discipline area, and then we move down into the actual courses. Okay, Tuan, this is where you were looking at. So yes, for each of these performance and equity sections, you will be reviewing every course. So what has been loaded is actually the course title and the course description, and then we've added in the course enrollment and the credit hours produced. And then, yes.
I'm sorry, I just have a quick question. So within the math department and also college readiness department, for example, when we're doing this, what if we're a course that was previously in the assessment for ICCB but no longer is? Do we still have to include that? Because if it discontinued in 2016, and it's every 5 years, now we have to include it within the report for the 17, 18, and 19, and 20, correct?
Okay, so this is a good example of this. And is this true that Econ 100 is no longer used? So, yes, yes.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's correct. Yeah.
I looked at it. I suddenly thought, "Oh dear, is this right?" So yes, Ron, this is kind of the exact example. So within the 5 years, Econ 100 was there, but it is no longer there. But there was some activity. So again, this would be a point at which you can say that this course is no longer available. Obviously.
All right, thank you. Sorry, George.
Yeah, great. Thank you, George. Okay, so I'm going to go down to one that actually has better data. So this is Economics 102. And you'll see now we do have actual data. So across the 5 years, there was enrollment. The total number of credit hours produced. This is just data we pull out of the system. The success rate. Remember, so there's the definition. This is a % of C or better, excluding withdrawals or audit students. So that is the definition ICCB has us using. And then, so the next question says, how does this data support the course goals? And so, meaning actually the data that we just discussed. So refer to the above data, the enrollment, the credit hours, and the success rate data to make your statement. So in this case, we see there's been a drop in the number of students enrolled from FY16 to FY20. So maybe there's some comment you can say about that. Certainly we can look at the total enrollment of the institution or something. And, you know, there's a direct relationship between the students enrolled and the credit hours produced, but that's money. So, you know, you may want to be able to talk about something like that. And then also some statement about the success rate, which looks like it has improved. And so that would be an important statement to be able to make. And then we provide some disaggregate data. And so I have made the statement here, what disaggregate data was reviewed. The enrollment data by course and institutionally were generated by gender and race ethnicity. So I want to pull up the disaggregate data. So this is the disaggregate data by course. This is also provided by program, but let's go to Economics 102. So in this case, we want to look at this economics data. And so first we have it by gender. And so we have it by percentages and counts. And so you really want to kind of look at the percentage of this economic course and make some statement about it. So just looking at it quickly, we can say that, you know, the female percentage has dropped while the male percentage has increased. So that is also a good thing, because in relations to institutional, and I haven't looked at this. So let's see. Institutional data would be, it was in the, let's see, I do have it stated in, you know what? It's in the other document. I'm going to have to look at that and get back to you on the economics. But the basic idea is to look at your course, look at the gender percentages, and then compare that to the institution. So in the case that, you know, this is 43% female, 57% male, that's different than what the actual percentages at the institutional level.
Right.
So you'll say there's more males in this course than, which can lead you into other thoughts and other discussion. And, you know, this is what you're really looking at is like the gaps. So how is this data showing some gap within your course? And in this case, females are dropping down. So what's using Economics 102? You know, so.
Right. The institutional data is actually on the first page. So I think if you scroll up.
I didn't seem to get there.
Oh, okay. So on my documents on the first page.
Okay, and that's where it should be. So that's why I was not getting there. So thank you. So you do see that. So that was the first page, and so then that's really why it's provided. Then you can do some comparison that way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we'll go back, and then the same thing will be done with race ethnicity, doing a comparison of institution to that course. And then now, were there any identifiable gaps? So that's where you're really going to be able to make some statement. And you know, again, I think each of that is a learning point. I'm going to use automotive, you know, just if automotive is so largely male, then maybe they want to start to do something to encourage females to be there. So that's more extreme. That's a more extreme case that I want to kind of say. And then we come into the summary part of each section. And so this is the point where you can talk about intended action steps. And again, this is for this course. The rationale. This is also an opportunity for you to talk about any resources that you need. So through this review, by the cost or the need or the quality, have you found that you're deficient in certain areas? And then who is responsible for completing or implementing this modification statement? So again, we will do this for each one of the economics courses. Okay, any questions on that? Oops, was a question? Yes?
Yes, that's from Nelly.
Oh, Nelly
Hi,
is
I'm Nelly.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, mine looks a lot different because I'm more in the academic support services. So
I was just going to go to that also, but go ahead and ask your
about
question.
the economic. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like I'm not getting asked a lot of the questions that you brought up here. So I just wanted to know if mine looks just to be quite different. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I've just pulled up the student and academic support services area, and I hadn't known you were in here right now, Nelly, so I'm glad you spoke up. And I believe Tim is still with us. And so this is the template that you would be using for that area. So it's a much shorter template, though that doesn't mean, you know, you have to make it a short review. So again, your template will start with the program summary, and this is similar to also, again, we're going to go back to the 5-year, let me just pull up this, oops. This is the thought process slide, Nelly, that I wanted to show. And so this is really bringing us to the full cycle of what you want to do. So we go back to the previous report, and we will say, what did we say we were going to do in the previous report? And then we will go through the template, which is kind of giving you what has happened in the 5 years. And then there will be the summary section that will give you time to reflect on what are we going to say we're going to do in the next 5 years. That's your action plan. Did someone else have another question? I got another beep. So then, Nelly, this is, you know, again, I'm sorry, this is the dual credit center one. So he did not have a previous review. So that's why it's already commented in here. But you should have gotten the previous review report. and you're going to describe any improvements or modifications made since that last review. And then what are the program services and program/service strengths? This is the one that can continue on for several pages. At one point, ICCB requested this template to be 4 to 8 pages. They've dropped that requirement, but that doesn't mean you should slight any of your strengths. So you have an opportunity. The cell will grow as long as you want it to grow, and in order for you to put in all of your strengths. And then based on the review, what is the identified challenges of the program? So again, that's another area, looking at the positives and the negatives, and that will lead you right into what action plans based on those challenges. You know, what can you see as some action plans for the next 5 years? And again, that cycle comes back around in 5 years when somebody opens this document. They're going to say, what did they say we were going to do? Did we do that? And then what do we have to do? So that is your area. Yes, another question?
Hey, Marylou. So dual credit is pretty multifaceted, and so I just wanted to make sure, should I, other than the academic and student support services that we offer, would we also include like enrollment services along with that? Because that's the bulk of our work as well.
Sure, and you're talking about dual credit enrollment services.
Correct, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what, Tim, I want to say yes. Again, we haven't done this area before. I think this is a great start to really be able to, you know, set up a good structure. And I think you're a great one for doing that, because you're going to really want to cover everything. And again, I don't think there's any limitations here. This is really your opportunity to put down on paper, what is this program doing?
Cool.
So yes, I think that's a great idea. Is that another question, please?
Yeah, it's me again. So I only have data for fiscal year 20. I don't have anything for fiscal year 2016 through 2019, and that's because that was the transfer center was under counseling, or transfer services were under counseling. So my question is, should they also provide an update, or should it just be based on the transfer center this 2020 fiscal year?
Well, I'm going to say no, we really want, because there was a report back in 2016 that, and I see, Tim, I just looked at this, I have to change that date. So we do have, I mean, there was activity in that area, doesn't matter what structure it's under. So we will want to be able to get that information. And so, Kurian, you want to help fill in that question too? I mean,
sure, Nelly. I would suggest include as much information you can possibly get. I know it is probably hard to get that information because people have changed. Maybe there's no record of the things happened. But if you have any information for that period, please include that. But what you can do is you can focus more on the last 1 year, where the transfer center was established, and the plans and what we have done in the last 1 year, and the plans for the future. So you can focus on that. But if you have some information, if you are able to collect some information about the previous years from counseling, that would be great. But certainly you can focus on the last 1 year.
And Nellie, I'm just going to also add that, you know, where the last report ended up, you know, and where you are today, you know, there should be some way to be able to figure out what has happened.
Yeah, ICCB is not really looking for, okay, they're not checking boxes whether you have covered everything every year, that kind of, when they look at these reviews, they're not going to do that, but they are looking at the overall quality of the review. So whether we have really done a good job in looking at the program in every respect, and then we have a action plan for the future. So if they do understand people change, even the structure, some of the departments go away, some of the programs go away, so that they understand that. So they understand the difficulty in getting that information. But I would suggest whatever possibly you can collect from counseling about previous activities, that would be great.
Okay,
Did I
thank you.
answer your question, Nelly?
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to, discredit what they may have done. They may have done some great things. But I just it's quite a gap. So I want to make sure that I capture anything they have as well. Thank
You
you.
can mention that transition too, because that
Mhm.
that's the fact. So it wasn't
Uh,
a different area. So the challenges in collecting that also can be included in your review. So that could be the
okay.
transparent way of reporting it.
Perfect.
Now she just realized she can write for hours.
You said 8 pages, right?
The final report always ends up well over 300. So that's how Kurian and I spend the early part of our summer reading all of this.
Yeah, we can handle that. So
they're very interesting too. Okay, so I just want to go back to the PowerPoint. And so again, I kind of come out of that to kind of we have the PowerPoint for the good summary pieces of it. I do go more into the documentation, the supporting documents, but I think I've covered that also. I didn't talk about the demand data, but you don't need that in the, that's for the CTE, and nobody's here for that. And we talked about the cost, and we talked about the disaggregate. And again, the last section is just really the most important section. This is really the reflection time. And, in this case, some of the summary pages are different and different questions that they will ask. But the bottom line is it's coming down to a summary statement and intended action steps. And that's where the most important part of your thought should go into, because that's what is going to be reviewed in 5 years also. So again, this isn't just an ICCB task. This is a task that is really important for each area, each subject topic, and how it integrates with the institution. So we've had great questions so far. If we have any more questions, we'd love to hear them. And we also just want to add that we're here for you. So as you're going along, we're glad to, provide any other data possibly, or just to answer some questions, to help, guide you through any of the process. So feel free to contact any of us at Research, and we'll be able to answer these questions. Anything else? Any other questions?
Not at the moment, but I'll let you once I get there. But thank you. This was very helpful.
Tim just got
Tim,
his table today.
you are just touching the border, so you're testing the water right now. So
I'll have it for you by 5, okay?
Yeah, perfect. So late.
I just
Great.
want to add something about the answers, partial answers we have given for some of the questions. We don't want to appear as too prescriptive in providing those answers. So it is completely up to you to answer those questions. Those prefabricated answers are really just to help you through the process, but it is completely up to you to answer those questions, especially in commenting on those disaggregated data and answering those questions based on that data. It is completely up to you. So anything that is based on that data, what's your honest answer to that question? That would be the best answer to that question. So we don't want to be very prescriptive about it, but when we provide certain data or certain things within that brackets, or we want to make sure that certain elements of are included in the answer. That's all the idea in providing that.
Great point, Kurian. And so that brings me to the thought that I didn't really show let me pull up a prior year report, because these templates have really changed. And so if we see, this was the 2016 program review, and let me just go to, so at that point, the academic, here's economics right here. You see there's 4 paragraphs. Oops, let me go larger. There's really 4 paragraphs, and now, it's a much more comprehensive review. And so when you go back to the previous report, you're going to see, well, they had it much easier than we have now. But that was an ICCB change, because they were not really getting robust reports.
Oh, Marylou?
Yes.
Yes. If this is the report you're referring to as the prior report in 2016, I do have this copy.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what this is.
Yeah.
And so that's why you just see, so it has changed.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And you didn't have to do individual courses back then either. So, and you're lucky you have 4.
Right.
There's a lot of physical education classes.
Yeah. And also I have a question, where will this video live so I can share with my department?
Yes, and I believe CTE has this link.
Okay.
And so if and when, she should be letting everybody know, I think.
Okay,
Laura should
great.
be, but if not, if we find it, we'll let you know.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so we're a little backed up on our videos, just so you know. Since Erin is no longer here, she was our techie person, so we are backed up on getting those loaded in. But Tim, I'm going to talk to Shelly and find out what our timeline is, and we can let you know.
And so, Laura, do you send it out to everybody who attended?
Well, I could, if everybody wants a copy of it, or you could, I believe you can go on to Blackboard.
Okay,
I have to look up the process for that.
Okay, okay. So if it's on Blackboard, then
yeah, there should be
I don't know if everybody goes in there.
In Ultra of recorded sessions, and you can look at it by date. But I'll be happy to send that to Tim.
Okay.
I think
or everybody.
George that was asking about
I think that was George, yeah, yeah.
Okay, everybody gets it. You get one, you get one, we all get one.
Yay!
You get a link, you get a link, you get a link. Perfect. Yeah, throw in the car.
Yeah. Okay, I thank all of you for today. It was wonderful. I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Thank you.